Welcome back to the processing area. As you can see, this is our viewing and processing room. So here we have the plate transfer box that we had from the operatory, all wiped and ready to be used, as shown here. Once we have these in a secure, safe place on the counter, we come over to the computer. As we discussed, this is an indirect mode of radiography, and here is the actual processing part of it. We come onto the computer, we log on to our software where we pick the patient name. We have the patient name here, and what we then do is, as per our software instructions, we go onto the sensor. It looks like a little tail or an actual sensor where it says Acquire X-rays with sensor. Click on that, and if I could just briefly remind you to be very, very cognizant that you have picked the correct patient. Once you have picked the correct patient and everything is set to go, you will see for bite wing intraoral x-rays and PAs, 4 boxes should come up where it has the patient's name on it. So now we click the play button, of course assuming the scanner is on. Once everything is set to go, green lights will show up and green means go. We then go over to our scanner here. Our scanner system here for PSP is divided into slots for different sizes of the PSP plates. We have the size 0 slots right here, of course, for the size 0 films. We then have the size 2s right here, and the size 1s. And these ones here that you see with the slots the other way around are primarily used for the vertical bite wings. Of course, here at SAIT we'll be taking the regular horizontal bite wings and PAs. If you notice over here, there's 2 lights on. The green light is, of course, the on and off switch. These green lights corresponding means that the machine is ready to go. And on the right here you will see a light symbol with blue on it. This basically means that once the PSP has been scanned into our system, once it had actually gone through the actual barrier tubing, the blue light signifies that the latent images will then be erased. If the blue light is off and you have scanned in your PSP plates, the images will still be on the plates. Okay, so depending upon your instructor, which here at SAIT we generally tend to have the blue light on. So when the PSP plates go down and the images appear on the computer, the images will then be deleted from the actual PSP plates. Now on to the processing. Again, no gloves are needed because we have clean hands and this is barrier free. We then take, very carefully, we take the PSP plate from the edges, being very careful not to touch the PSP side. Should the plate fall, immediately have it scooped up from the ground actually I shouldn't say scooping up from the ground, we should pick it up from the ground very carefully and not scoop it. That will cause any scratches that will then show up on the images. We take the PSP plates by the sides and we are ready to process. Oh, pardon me, looks like should this happen to you where the green lights go off, you simply need to go back to your computer as it's on a timeout session and hit play again. The green lights are back on the computer as well as on the sensor. We take our PSP plates and assign them to the correct size 2 barriers, and we gently push them in. If you'll notice in a few seconds, the green light then turns to amber or yellow, which means that it is now in use, and you can watch as the PSP plate comes down. You may have to be careful, as sometimes, especially when using a pan as the as the images are quite big, as the plate's quite big, it may fall off, so always stand by. And here we are with our size 1s, again giving it a gentle tug push, if you will. The size 2 has now come out. And on the computer, the box will appear all black, and as the image is being processed, it shows a little white film coming down. We know then that it has successfully been scanned. We then come back to our scanner here. We take the images by the edges, gently taking them by the edges, and putting them back into the transfer box, as we need to go back to the computer and tend to mounting. These will be barriered at the end. Safely put them to the side or take them with you if there's too much confusion going on. You then come back to the computer, tend to the computer where you will then mount the x-rays. It's very important that you tend to the x-ray right away so nobody else takes over your terminal and think that they can use it. I'm here. Upon finishing off with the mounting, you will sign up to get the x-rays or the radiographs be looked at. When everything is done and we are okay, we can then X out of the computer. We come over to the counter, the PSP plate. We hand sanitize, of course. Open up the plate, open up the box, pardon me, and we barrier. And once again, it is pertinent that we use the correct size barrier for the correct size of the PSP plate. We have a size 1 here and a size 1 barrier. We then take the barrier with the flap opened upwards. We take the PSP plate with the other hand, open up the slot, and gently putting the PSP plate into the barrier, again not touching the insides of it, and we safely seal the PSP, which will then go back into a box which will be here with the corresponding sizes of the PSP plates. Similarly, we'll do the same thing for the size 2s. The size 2s, of course, have their own barriers. When the size 1 is put into the size 2 barrier, it becomes very difficult to take the image as it slips and slides around the XCP kit and can therefore be very uncomfortable for the patient. Needless to say, once we're done, we then take our empty transfer box over to the operatory. And this concludes our video series on PSPs. Thank you.